about to you. It's just gonna open your mouth, I cut you. One person in here for now, so just gonna wait for other people to join. I looked at him like, oh, can you turn the light on? And then I could see you in the live stream in the reflection here. What the? What's going on? Trying to turn this light on. There we go. Thank you.
You look holy. Don't hurt yourself.
Man. So happy I get to talk about Harold Perkins not committing here. This the guy that I was talking about. Today is National Signing Day, so we'll talk a little bit about how the Florida Gators did there, some Senior Bowl stuff, and we're going to have a little bit of fun with it. And then I get to cry about Harold Perkins. Only here on Locked On Gators. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. Happy Wednesday if you're watching this live, or Thursday, depending on when you listen to this. I am Brandon Olson. You can find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all of my written work with Whole Nine Sports. That's WHOLENINE Sports. And yeah, that's about it. We're gonna get into this one. It's Florida Gators National Signing Day, and the biggest name I see you, Chris, saying you're happy with the guys we got. So am I. I mean, this is a transitional class that we thought was going to be, for lack of better term, absolutely atrocious. And it ended up being better than we expect. You know, new head coach coming in, Damien leaving. We lost some guys. We were closer for a lot of players than we expected to be. And as of right now, we are the number 19 recruiting class in the nation. Texas A&M got away with murder. Sure, Q, they got away with paying a lot of people for a lot of money. But with the Florida Gators being the number 19 class in the nation right now, they are the leaders in the state, which is something that, you know, Florida State could stick with all their rah funny stuff, but never forget that they lost the number 1 recruit in the nation to Jackson State, and that now they aren't even the top class in the state. So Florida, I mean, right now it's looking like Jacoby Matthews. If you didn't see the live stream, that I believe it was Dilly Sanders that was the one that initially tweeted it, where there was a live stream. Someone said, yeah, Jacoby Matthews is going to Texas A&M. And then it quickly muted. So Jacoby Matthews likely going to Texas A&M. The rumor is also like he may go to LSU, but the rumor is not that he may go to the University of Florida, that he won't be a Florida Gator, and that's not super unexpected at this point. But the Gators still pulled in a solid class with Kamari Wilson being a 5-star signee and then getting demoted to 4 stars, which was like just makes no sense whatsoever. But Kamari Wilson is a 5-star safety out of IMG Academy. He was the first big signing for Billy Napier, and he was here for early signing day. Really strengthened this class and gave an early he solidified Billy Napier's status very early on by signing. And it's like, look, like Florida's not here to mess around. You got Patrick Toney and Billy Napier trying to bring in every safety they could possibly bring in. They got Kamari Wilson. They got Devin Moore. They've still got Rashad Torrance II on roster, who I think is one of the best safeties in the nation. And Trey Dean III on roster. He came back instead of going to the NFL draft, which I thought he would go, but he's coming back to Florida, and they make one of the best safety duos in college football. Don't care what anyone says about that. That's how I feel about them. I think they're great. Donovan McMillan and Corey Collier were 2 safeties from last season that they were high-ranking recruits. There was a lot of hype around them. Didn't really see them a ton, but a big issue with the coaching staff last season was what is it? Oh yeah, they're bad coaching. They don't know how to put the right players in when they should be. If you really want to win games, and they're not playing their best players, it was rough to be a Gators fan last year. It was very disappointing. It's not as bad as being a Tulane fan, but like it was still pretty bad to watch and sit through sometimes. The class defensively is very strong. You got Kamari Wilson, Chris McClellan, Devin Moore, Shamar James, who everybody knows I've been pounding the table for this kid since June of last year. You've got Jamari Lyons, you got Jack Pyburn signed, you got so many defensive players signed, and then it's just like offensive linemen, a running back here, a wide receiver there, because we got Caleb Douglas, which is fantastic. I didn't think he'd be signing with the Florida Gators, but he is here, and that is awesome. And then I'm just looking at the chat right now. Jacoby Matthews going to Miami. I'm assuming that you meant Trevante Citizen going to Miami, which he did. And looking at Trevante Citizen, he's not really someone that I cared whether or not he was going to be a Florida Gator. I've said it where I don't think it made sense for him to come to Florida. And I get that you could be like, oh, we want as many talented players as we can have, but only so many running backs can play. And you've already got Naquan Wright on the team. You've already got Lorenzo Lingard and DeMarcus Bowman on the team. You got Montreal Johnson transferring in from Louisiana, being the only player that already has a little bit of rapport with Billy Napier. You've got Trevor Etienne came in, and he's a high-ranking recruit. He came in, he's following his brother coming to Florida, but his brother was Clemson and then came to the state of Florida. So I hate you so much, Dylan. Oh man, that's fun. Trevor Etienne added running back to this class. I just didn't see the point in bringing Trevante Citizen. I get that Florida was interested in him and that he was clearly at least a little bit interested in Florida, but I didn't think it made a ton of sense for him to come here with so many guys that have multiple years remaining in college, and there's only so many handoffs that can go around. Where it's like it made sense to me for Trevante Citizen to not come to Florida. I didn't think he'd go to Miami. I thought he'd go to LSU, but doesn't surprise me that he's not a Florida Gator. Does A&M unseat Bama for the next couple years? Dylan, do you think A&M unseats Bama atop the SEC?
I don't think A&M has a chance.
That's fine. I'd also say, they unseated Bama recruiting wise this year, but they didn't win the SEC this year. They didn't win it this year. Well,
the New York Yankees have the highest payroll in MLB.
I get it. If you didn't get the reference, or if you didn't hear it, Dylan said the New York Yankees have the highest payroll in the MLB. And if I'm picking up what you're putting down, just because you pay a ton doesn't mean you're going to be good, right? Look at the NFL teams. Teams that have the least salary cap always suck, right? Yeah. So there's that. I don't think A&M unseats Bama. I'm not a huge fan of A&M's, defensive coordinator. I've been very open about not liking that. Devin Moore will be corner short defensive back. Devin Moore. We all got caught up in the hype videos and the little speeches. Time will tell. Kind of glad this happened. Now we can tamper our expectations. We don't tamper. We're not Texas A&M. Um, Temper our expectations. So we won't have major letdown. Time will tell on the money they're supposed to be spending on recruiting. We will see. At Texas A&M, they're, spending money on recruits, but Florida did something that was very unique in the fact that there's 48 guys on staff right now, and Billy Napier has said we've still got to add some. They spent a lot of money on adding innovator of social media and innovator of recruiting, where you're going to see things happen, but people are acting like this isn't 2 months into Billy Napier's tenure as a Florida Gators head coach. This is still very new, and some of these guys were getting recruited for years and just not, they didn't come to Florida, and that's fine. But this is 2 months of recruiting. We got some guys that stayed throughout everything, and that's dope. But this is like expectations should have been tempered. This was never going to be. Where did Florida end up? Right now, Florida's 19 in the nation, number 9 in the SEC. Still number 1 in the state of Florida. But this was never really a place where Florida should have been expecting to have a top 10. I didn't think Florida would have a top 25 class, and right now they're number 19. So this is great for me. This is wasn't it's supposed to be a good class in general. It was just supposed to be a good class given the expectations, given how poorly the previous staff recruited and developed talent, given how many months Kelly and Mario have been on the job asking for a friend. Too long. And with Miami, the whole spectacle of their coaching change just to suck the entire time is fantastic to me, at least. But yeah, like this was never supposed to be a recruiting class that was supposed to be good. It's just been so much better than the initial expectations were. Like I said, given how poorly the previous coaching staff recruited and how little effort they put into it, where it's like, well, yeah, we're number 19, but when they took over, we were what, in the 70s? It's like it was bad. And then guys like Kamari Wilson came and Billy Napier broke the IMG curse with Florida Gators not being able to add talent. And Chris Mcmillan was someone who a lot of people, when came time for early signing day, people were like, okay, like he's gonna flip to Oklahoma, but he stuck true and he's a Florida Gator. They're adding talent here. And we missed out on Harold Perkins, a 5-star linebacker who I think is exceptional, who I've been championing for. But that's something where you can't win them all, especially linebackers going to probably look a little rough with guys like Tyron Hopper leaving, Mahmoud Diabate leaving, Amari Burney not playing probably because he's bad, but Shamar James coming in and Ventra Miller coming back, and he was out for the huge majority of the season last year. John Jett, yeah, it is awesome given where we were before. This is such little time to turn things around and rebound and to get this team where they should be. And they're well on their way under Billy Napier. This recruiting class is getting built up and this roster is getting built up. You know what they say. It is a talent acquisition business. And also high school recruiting, sure, number 19 in the nation, but Osiris Torrance is fantastic offensive lineman. He's an early preseason All-American. And then Jalen Kimber from Georgia, the corner, he's going to come to Florida, and he's going to add to what I think is an already very, very talented secondary. So I think it's hard to really fault this coaching staff or anything. Montreal Johnson was a superstar as a freshman running back with Louisiana. He's coming in from the system that he was great in to begin with. So he's coming in. Cameron Waits is another offensive lineman from Louisiana. This offensive line, it's going to improve. I don't know by how much because there are still multiple weak spots on it. But this is an offensive line that's going to improve, and there's clearly a focus on there. Multiple offensive line assistants or multiple offensive line focused coaches. You've got Billy Napier as the offensive play caller, with Rob Sale as the offensive coordinator. And Rob Sale, of course, was the offensive line coach for the New York Giants, who have just been down bad recently. Jack Miller's a quarterback from Ohio State that came in, and there's just been so much talent added to this roster in so many positions of need where, I mean, a lot of these guys I think are going to play pretty early on and pretty consistently. Napier's a newer name to recruit, so I wouldn't sweat this class at all. 23 is going to be a huge class based off our room for it. And yeah, 2023, I'm expecting a very good class. I'm expecting a top 12, 10 class from Florida there. So, and yeah, Billy Napier is a newer name. He's someone who's coming from the Sun Belt to the SEC, and he's completely unproven to these guys. He's completely new name to everybody, and he, like I said, he only had 2 months to recruit these kids, so it's not like he's a first year coach that's talking to these kids the entire time. He's had 2 months to recruit the kids, so don't expect anything great during this cycle. But again, it exceeded expectations dramatically. It was wild to see, because I know that we were talking about pretty much once he got hired, we were like, yeah, he's going to build a recruiting staff. He's going to build this great staff, and he's going to recruit. And he did all that. And we were just, it's been a pleasant surprise to this point. Every year, it just seems like we all say is wait till the next class. We sound like Tennessee fans saying wait till next year we will win it all. I won't say we'll win it all next year, but I will say next year do expect a much better recruiting class. Show improvement the first year as far as execution is exactly, John. It's just playing solid football and playing stout football. All right, there we go. Exactly, Croc. It's fine to be disappointed because we thought we'd get guys like not Crocky, but we thought we'd get guys like Harold Perkins, and some people wanted Trevante Citizen, and then that, and it's like, yeah, it sucks that we didn't get them, but this is still a much better class given just the awful expectations that the team had. It's like, yeah, Dan Mullen, he did have top 15 classes with Florida. He did, but he really dropped the ball in an insane way, and he was declining pretty much every year. He got lucky with a few names that got added, but even if you look at like last year's class, there hasn't been many players that he brought in that contributed. So you could talk about the rankings all you want, but Jason Marshall started. Corey Collier, we didn't see at all. Carlos Wilson, we didn't see. Marcus Burke, we saw sporadically. Donovan McMillan, we saw sporadically. We saw most of these guys sporadically. We didn't see anybody for extended periods of time. So I don't really care about the class too much. Uh, I do think we'll finish ahead of Arkansas and South Carolina. You've got Arliss Boardingham, who hasn't even announced his decision yet. He's stuck between Florida and Oregon, and he said he won't announce his decision today. So that's new. Wow, the stream is delayed ever for the streaming service. Shut up, Dylan. Judging by the guys we got, I would say by all these, we're going to be pretty mean. Yeah, that exactly. This defense, they're going to be pretty mean defensively, the Florida Gators, but at the same time, they're also going to be very, very smart and savvy and finesse heavy, because this is a Gators scheme that is going to get really creative with sim pressure and creepers and showing all these crazy looks that a lot of college players haven't really seen before. So we're going to see all of that change with this team. And yeah, it's all about that last visit, especially if the last visit's an official visit. That's gonna be big. Thank you, John. Um, and yes, OVO, yeah, if you're not making playoffs, then it doesn't matter as much. But I mean, looking at the Senior Bowl now, just changing from high school seniors to college seniors. I know that we just finished the second day of Senior Bowl practices, and we were expecting to see 3 Florida Gators in Damien Pierce, Zachary Carter, and Jeremiah Moon, the linebacker. Jeremiah Moon was pulled from the game at the last minute, whether by his own people or by they decided he shouldn't be in it, or injury, whatever it may be. He was pulled right before practice started. We don't know why yet. Could be any number of reasons, but yeah, Jeremiah Moon will not be participating in any of the practices. Tomorrow's practice was pushed indoors, so we won't be able to watch it unless we watch clips or see online things. So yeah, hopefully for Jeremiah Moon, everything's all right. The other Gators that are here and are participating are running back Damien Pierce and defensive lineman, defensive end Zachary Carter, who, by the way, I stood next to and felt like just, I need to go back to the gym, because that dude is bricked. So I need to go back to the gym after looking at him. But Zachary Carter, the dude's a wrecking ball. The whole defensive line is for both sides really have been dominant, and that's including Florida State edge Jermaine Johnson, who, despite his poor choice in which school he's going to go to, or which school he went to, he's done a hell of a job. this week in Mobile. He's been great, and I mean, we had media breakfast earlier today, and everybody was just swarming around him, just trying to get interviews with him and contact information and all that stuff. And then he's just making himself so much money this week. And Zachary Carter's made himself money this week too. It's going to be interesting to see how him and the other defenders really really push things through and how they develop, because I want to see these offensive linemen get used to his pass rush plan and see what happens at that point, which will of course have to wait until practices finish and the game finishes to see how these offensive linemen really get used to his pass rush plan after seeing him multiple times in a row, and see how creative he can get with things, and see if he can consistently get there. Because I mean, I'll talk about Damien Pierce in a second. How much do you think NIL deals help or hurt the Gators? I know it's early to tell, but just I think it helps. I think the Florida Gators, with the Gator Collective specifically, have one of the best systems for getting their athletes paid. So I think that's big for Florida, where it obviously is very helpful for us. You see schools like Texas A&M. It's, oh, these kids were promised NIL deals, and they're getting all these things, but I mean, Florida and every school have the same capability to do so. And Florida especially has the Gator Collective, and they were kind of ahead of the curve on all of these NIL deals. So it helps Florida right now. It doesn't hurt them. But switching back to the Senior Bowl, looking at the defensive line, Zachary Carter was phenomenal. Looking at Damien Pierce, that's the bad part about having a defensive lineman and a defensive line that has been phenomenal, is that Damien Pierce has to run behind the offensive line that's getting bullied by them. And I felt bad for him because him and Zaquandre Wright had some solid solid runs, but it was like a gain of 4 and a gain of 6 were impressive against this line because they kept getting hit in the backfield. And it is hard for an offensive line to really gel early on and find success early on. And that's unfortunate for Damien Pierce and all the other running backs, because that means that, especially when you look at Damien Pierce, he's a powerful guy. He's got to go in at least a little bit to get a little bit of momentum rolling. And he just was not able to do that. We got to see a little bit of pass protection today, and it's been going around Twitter since the end of practice, where he went into one-on-ones, because they've been ending practices with one-on-ones, and he completely stonewalled a linebacker, literally pushed him on the ground and just cleaned it up. And Damien Pierce, I mean, we knew that's where he was going to shine, because Senior Bowl practices, your O-line could be getting you hit in the backfield, but when you look at pass protection, when you look at that part of being an NFL running back, there's no back in the draft that's better than Damien Pierce, who, by the way, has improved tremendously as a pass protector and as a pass catcher. This past season, we saw him be way better than we'd ever seen him be. But in Mobile, he did have a drop on a screen. He's had some miscues as a pass catcher that, I mean, it sucks to see. But again, like, today's practice was just horrible rain. Tomorrow's practice will be dry because they'll be indoors because of the rain. So Damien Pierce, Zachary Carter, two guys that so far have helped their stock, especially when you look at Damien Pierce and it's like, oh, he dropped the pass here and there. But on film, we've seen him catch passes in game and find success that way. So it's nothing to worry about. He's not someone that you should be really asking to line up out wide or in the slot too much. He's going to do his thing. He's more of a powerful back than anything else. So we're going to see him find success throughout this week and throughout the whole draft process. And I mean, he's gonna light up interviews. That he is just so good with the media. He's gonna demolish every interview he gets. And with NFL teams, I'd imagine he's doing a fantastic job there. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more about the Florida Gators. Might do a live stream again. Who knows? For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olson. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. You can find all of my written work with the Whole Nine Sports. That is WHOLENINE Sports. And I will see you all tomorrow. Sorry. I mean, I'm gonna kill the stream there, but I'm gonna kill the recording there, but I'll talk about these. Just like the little chat things, why not? Ventrell Miller's not great in coverage, but which I spoke about this last week, where there's going to be some guys who have more roles as being middle line or Mike linebackers and Sam linebackers and Will linebackers. Ventrell Miller is going to be someone that I think will play a lot, and he'll probably be a Mike, just because there's nobody on the roster that can really replicate his his run stopping ability. So I think we'll see Ventrell Miller play a lot, and I think he's going to be a Mike. And I think right behind him is probably going to be Shamar James stepping up. I think Scooby Wright is just, or Scooby Williams is just way too light to play, and that's an issue with a few linebackers. Or there's a lot of linebackers that aren't great in coverage, and that's really going to kill them. When Ventrell Miller, he's already not great in coverage, but he's so much better as a run defender than the other linebackers on the team. Yes, Brian Korth, I guess. Don't know what that was responding to. Chris, I off the top of my head, I genuinely don't remember what time the game was. But there was an announcement yesterday. It came out, I believe. So that'll be very easy. Just yeah, that's easy peasy. Thank you everybody for checking in, and I will see you all tomorrow.